The NFL draft is finished. It's done. It's over with. And I'm here to recap it for you. Let's go.
Let's go! This ain't the Rock Night, or this game he stink!
Oh shit!
It's gone!
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Birds of a Feather on A2D Radio, brought to you by Manscaped. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code A2D at manscaped.com. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life. We are live. Well, I am live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and wherever you download your podcast. So if you're listening to us live or on your commute, we greatly appreciate the support. It's me, Chux, by myself. I'm flying solo. My co-host, Pete, is watching the new Doctor Strange movie as we speak. So that is why he is not here. But I'm not missing it. Well, I'm missing the movie. I'm not missing Birds of a Feather. I'm here with you tonight, and I am going to be recapping the 2022 NFL Draft for you, both from the Eagles standpoint and from the NFL standpoint. I'm going to give to you my thoughts and reactions to everything that went on and what stood out to me the most from the weekend. So it's going to be an abbreviated show today. I'm only going to go maybe about an hour. But like I said, I'm going to give you my thoughts, my reactions, and anything you guys want to comment or ask away. You know, I'm here for you. I'm here for you, the fam. But before I get into the first half of the show, our sponsor is FanUp. It's the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL contests, and NBA contests, and more. Win great prizes. Sign up today. Use promo code A2D for 5,000 bonus points, which is a $50 value. FanUp.app. The poll question to start off tonight's show, guys. The Eagles made the right choice in drafting Jordan Davis over Kyle Hamilton. Agree or disagree? Let me know what you think. Because I mean, I don't know about you guys, especially on the live show that we had on A2D. A lot of us were screaming for Kyle Hamilton. We wanted Kyle Hamilton to be there so badly. So I figured this would be a good poll question to start off the show to ask you guys to see what you guys think. But let me preface this by saying that I was someone that really wanted Kyle Hamilton. Sorry. I wanted Kyle Hamilton really bad. All right. So, if you were with us on the live show, I was saying, like, please, Kyle Hamilton, we need a DB really bad. We need a safety, corner really bad. And I was hoping entering draft night, day one of the draft, that either Stingley or Hamilton would fall. Stingley didn't. Obviously, he went third overall to the Texans, which a lot of people thought that was a shocker. To me, it wasn't that big of a shocker. But I'll get into that later on. But I wanted Kyle Hamilton, but I also had said that the other talent that I'd be happy with is Jordan Davis. So I wanted Kyle Hamilton personally over Jordan Davis, but I was good with both. Obviously, we got Jordan Davis. I'm going to frame my answer this way. I'm going to say agree to the poll because I'm going to look at it from the Eagles' point of view, from their lens, okay? You've got to remember, and I'm sure I don't need to remind anyone, that the Eagles prioritize the D-line. Okay, that's their MO. They won a Super Bowl with that MO, and they're going to continue to have that MO as long as Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman are in power. That's going to be what they prioritize, and for good reason. All right, so their guy, as we all saw, was Jordan Davis the whole time, and that was pretty predictable. Okay, that was actually very, very predictable. A lot of talk leading up to it was that this is the guy they had their eye on because they needed this type of interior defensive lineman. And what I mean by that is that you need someone who can play not like a nose tackle kind of role, but even beyond that, a guy who can two gap and just clog up that interior so well at a high level. Now, is that type of player enough to take them that early? If they're just a run stuffing, a one tech, nose tackle with two gaps and only plays on early downs, then no, that type of player isn't worth it. However, you've got to also look beyond that. And this is what a lot of people were really upset about when it came to the Jordan Davis pick, was that they saw him as an early down guy. He doesn't rush the passer well, so on and so forth. Let me tell you guys, and I've told a lot of people this ever since, even before the draft, you've got to look beyond that. That Jordan Davis is more than just an early down run stuffer. He has the traits necessary to rush the passer. And there are a lot of things that I read leading up to the draft where Georgia coaches were talking about, for different reasons, why they didn't ask Jordan Davis to rush the passer as much as they could have. One, that's not his forte. Like his forte is two gapping. All right, that's his forte. He's a two gapper. He eats up space. He wreaks havoc. So that's his forte. It's that Georgia defense started with him, and him and the rest of the D line really made life better for the linebackers, the second level defenders on that Georgia defense. Okay, so you've got to, they're going to ask him to do that primarily. Okay, now with him, Georgia coaches apparently were telling us that in practice he showed really good ability to rush the passer when asked, but in game situations they took him off for various reasons. There were, now let's be real here. He did rush the passer. It just wasn't often. There were reps where he rushed the passer. Now, because they had other pieces, there were other things that they required Davis to do. Okay. They wanted him to make sure that blocks didn't get up to the second level. He was constantly eating up space, constantly eating up blocks all the time. All right, that was his main priority. So when you're constantly doing that, you're going to get gassed. You're a guy that size, you're going to get gassed every once in a while. So to make sure he didn't, lose that stamina, or he was always fresh, they're going to take him off on passing downs. But if they needed to, they kept them in. They kept them in for some downs. Now, the other reason, which I won't get too much into, but if you've seen there's an article by, I believe, I'm trying to remember, there was an article that came out, I think from, I gotta look it up. I'm so sorry. I should have researched this beforehand, so I do apologize. But there was another writer that was interviewing Georgia coaches, and there's another reason why they didn't have Jordan Davis rush the passer as often as he could, and it had to do with recruiting. I had to do with roster and recruiting. And I won't get into the nitty-gritty with that because I can't explain off the top of my head well, and I don't want to give false information. So just look it up. It was I think it was by Pro Football Network, but I'm not 100% sure. But there were reasons why he didn't rush the passer as much as he could have. But he has the traits. You're talking about what was another reason why he blew up so much pre-draft? Okay. That combine, it showed off his athletic ability, his ability to get downfield, to his range as an interior defensive lineman. He's an incredible freak athlete. He has the ability and the traits to be a really good pass rusher. Now, is that as part of that projection? Absolutely. Absolutely part of that is absolutely projection because he hasn't that's not on film on a consistent basis for us to say, hey, he's proven, but you're projecting based on the little bit we did see, the few reps we did see, and you're projecting it based on his physical traits. So because of that, the Eagles and a lot of people, they have faith that Jordan Davis will be able to be a good pass rusher if asked to. So when you have that type of player on the interior and you prioritize the lines as much as the Eagles do, you're going to prioritize Jordan Davis over Kyle Hamilton. And that MO, that philosophy is consistent with that pick. So that's why I agree to the poll. I think it was the right move for the Eagles. Is it what I preferred? No. But it was the right and sensible move for the Eagles. And I think you have to frame it that way. You have to look at it that way. And I got into another good conversation with a former Eagle scout online. And he's been one of Jordan Davis's biggest supporters even like back in October last year. Talking about how he would be perfect for the Eagles. And he talks about how his presence on the line opens up so many things for the Eagles, even coverage-wise, okay? And I asked him, because he'd been talking about why it starts on the defensive front and then that helps build coverages, makes coverages better instead of, the opposite way around. And I had asked him, hey, I know there are coaches and, some analytics people that believe the other way around, that believe that you build on the back end, you get elite and high-end talent on the back end, and then you make up for, and then after that back-end talent, that's when you build the rest of it. Just different philosophies. And I asked him what his response to that. And his response to that was that there's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer. You can build your defense one way or the other, and it's not wrong. It's just a matter of knowing what your philosophy and your scheme are and making sure you're consistent with that. Because if you're building from the D line, you have to make sure that you may not, even though you may not have the talent on the back end, you may not be as talented in the secondary as you are up front, you can still do different things schematic wise because you don't have to keep as many people at the line of scrimmage. So you can have more people out in coverage and do more things, do a bunch of different things schematically that way. And then vice versa. If you have high-end talent on the back end, you can leave them one-on-one with receivers and everything and crowd the line of scrimmage more. So it all just depends. There's no wrong answer. But with the way the Eagles are, you have to realize that it's a right pick for them. And you really can't hate on the pick. Again, I understand the hesitancy and the concern because he is not a proven pass rusher, but I'm telling you, you have to go beyond what the general speak is. You know what I'm saying? You have to go beyond that and look deeper. And there's some things that, and I always said this, and a bunch of other guys at ATD say this. I know Tom, me and him agreed on this. There are things that when we watch tape, when we watch film, we watch the games, and we try to evaluate these draft prospects, there are things that we're just never going to know compared to the teams. They're doing their due diligence, or doing their homework, they're doing their investigations with these prospects, and they're always going to know certain things that we're not. They're going to be able to interview coaches and interview players, and we're not going to have that type of information. Okay, he's just not. We're not going to have that type of information. That's where we have to have some type of faith or trust, and this goes beyond the Eagles. Just in general, as a fan, you have to have some type of faith and trust in the coaching staff, in the front office, in the scouting department, that they're doing their homework on these prospects and that they know stuff that we don't. And, my son Grayson is talking in the background. If you hear him, he agrees. He agrees. So that's my thing with Jordan Davis. I love the pick. I'm really happy about the pick because it makes sense for the Eagles. I agree to the poll, even though I really wanted Kyle Hamilton. I'm okay with it. I'm gonna get to the chat. Let's see what some of you guys are saying. Don, what's up, man? What's up? We got a later start time, so good to see you on the beginning of the show. You said I disagree. I think Kyle Hamilton would upgrade the pass defense, especially missing out on Honey Badger. He definitely, absolutely would have, but again, it's about philosophy and scheme and how you're going to build your defense. Bill Millerbrook, what's up? What's up, man? We all were young for Hamilton, but settled for Davis. Reports say Ravens were going to take him. I think we should have stayed put and took whatever one of the Ravens didn't take and keep the picks. See, we could have. The thing is, if you're the Eagles, you have your guy is Jordan Davis. And I said, that was no secret. That was no surprise. Their guy was Jordan Davis. So when you're a team and you have your sight sets on a certain prospect, you go and get him. You go and get him. And I can't fault the Eagles for that. If Jordan Davis was someone they liked that much, I have zero issue with them going up and getting them. Because if they didn't like Hamilton as much, but they settled for Hamilton, then they don't have as much of a plan for Hamilton as they do with Davis. They have a plan in place for Davis. They know how they're going to use him. They know how they want to, how they project him. So if that's their guy, go get him. Jake says, once Davis learns to improve his hand placement and develops more pass rushing moves, he's going to be a serious problem. And he will. Again, the traits are there. The traits are there for him to be a good pass rusher. Mark, I'm going to butcher this last name. I'm so sorry. Mark Schmechel. I'm so sorry. Really hoped we were going to sign the Honey Badger, especially after we didn't do much during the draft to shore up the secondary. What do you think they do? This is what I was kind of annoyed with, is that, that whole time during the draft, people were saying, it's okay. We're gonna sign Honey Badger. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine in secondary. And I kept saying, you can't bank on that. You can't bank on that. Now, did we end up drafting a DB? No. Am I happy about that? Not really. But can I blame the Eagles for not drafting a DB? I can't blame them because of how the board fell. Okay? I'm always someone who preaches you can't reach for need. However the board falls, that's going to help determine who you're going to pick. Okay? So the board fell a certain way. They already said there was no DBs at where they picked that really were high on their board. And so if there were none, I'm not going to have them reach. Okay? Povia says, what's up, Chux? Hope the fan is having a great night. Thank you, Pov. We are. Coach Marcus, he's not a passer. He's a double team maker. He absolutely is. I do believe he can develop into a pass rusher. Travis Sims says, hey, Chux, you still love Jalen Reagor? You crack me up. No, I do not love Jalen Reagor. Do not. Don says, questions if the Lions never moved up for Jameson Williams, do you think they still make the A.J. Brown trade? That's a good question. That's a really good question. I think so. I think they do. Because I think this deal has been going on or had been set in place for a while. Okay? I think they had the talks and they had these conversations and had this pretty much ready to go for maybe a few days, maybe a week or so. So I think they still make this move. I think the come draft night was just a matter of finalizing everything. Okay. So I think they like Jameson Williams a lot. And maybe Jameson Williams was their backup to where if things fell through with AJ Brown, then they would have went with Jameson or tried to get Jameson. That's possible. I don't know for sure. We'll see. But I think he was more so their backup, not their plan A. Mark says first try was right. I don't even remember my first try. I don't even remember what I said the first time. So Don says I hate Pete so much right now for seeing Doctor Strange. Yeah, I don't even know when I'm going to be able to see it. We have tickets for Monday, but I'm not sure anymore if we're going to be able to go because of some things came up. So we'll see. I'm so eager to see Strange, but maybe next week. Bill says the Giants can't get anything for Bradbury and will be releasing soon. If the report is true that Howie is aggressively pursuing him, why not give New York a sandwich for him instead of bidding more? I don't know. Maybe because they believe they can get him. I'm not sure. I don't know why they wouldn't trade him. Who knows? But that's another thing I was saying is there was to his previous question, Mark, your previous question about what they're going to do with secondary. There are still options. I mean, for safety, I still like Jaquaski Tart, who is still one of the best names in football. Just Jaquaski Tart. It's an amazing name. Love that name. So I would still like him a lot. He's a very solid safety. I know Kevin King is out there. Obviously, James Bradbury. There's still options in the secondary we can fill. Okay. Now, if you were to ask me which, as it stands, the roster stands, who do I feel more confident in? The safety group or the cornerback group? I feel more confident in the cornerback group. Like, I like Zach McPherson a good amount. So I think Zach has more of a chance to break out and be at least somewhat of a reliable starter at some point this year. I have more faith that could happen than I do have in our safeties and Marcus Epps and Kayvon Wallace and Anthony Harris. I think they're all just what they are. Okay. Jesse Davis, Howie Roseman said it's a 3 to 5 year plan. I'm not going to put words in his mouth or expect something totally against his words. I like the way this team is being built. Absolutely. That being said, we can find band-aids for the time being. We can. I'm tired of band-aids, and I'm sure the staff, Howie, and them know that we can't keep using band-aids. I think they know that, but they're not going to force the issue. So hopefully next year is when we start looking at it. And me, guys, I've been pounding the table for a safety, to draft a safety for years. So next year I'm going to be doing the same thing. You bet. After running back, I'm going to be studying these DB prospects a lot next year. So I can't wait. I'm excited. Jesse Davis, yes, Tart played for the 49ers. He was drafted by the Cardinals, was moved over to the 49ers, and he's a solid safety. He can. And the good thing about him is he can play both deep. He can play too high, and he can play in the box. So I like him like that. Don says Kevin King is kind of mid to me. Well, if you're a free agent right now, you're pretty much mid. Like we have no choice. He's definitely mid, but we don't have a choice. We have to settle for mid. So what are you gonna do? Don says I never knew the Eagles got Kennedy Brooks. I love that guy at Oklahoma. I'm gonna get in Kennedy Brooks in a second. I will. All right. I really like that pickup, and I'm gonna get to it in a little bit. Devin Green says if we upgrade the secondary and Hurts plays, I think we could most definitely complete for a Super Bowl. Sorry if I butchered that. I'm not sure. Mark says I will say checking free agency. There are still some decent options out there. There are like decent band-aids. There are stuff out there. Mike DeAndre says or asks, do you know what the Eagles' projected salary cap number is next year? I do not. I'm sorry. You can go on Spot Rack and you can look at the projections. I'm not sure where it is. And plus, you got to keep in mind the NFL salary cap will raise, but they don't know the exact figure yet. So you got to keep that in mind. All right. So moving forward with the Eagles. Now I definitely want to bring this up because, again, this was a pretty another, how you want to say it, controversial pick in Cam Jurgensen. If you remember the week, our draft preview show, the week before the draft, I had said, do not be surprised if Cam Jurgensen is the Eagles' target on day 2. And look what happened. It's very, very predictable. Now, I'm even more surprised because I did not expect them to be – I didn't expect them to be that invested. Like, I didn't know Kelsey had helped scout him. All right, I didn't know how Kelsey felt about Jurgens. That was a pleasant surprise. So I liked seeing that. So it was good to know that Kelsey gave some staff an approval. And when you have Jason Kelsey, you draft this guy, you draft Jurgens to be the heir apparent to Jason Kelsey, and that was apparent. But the fact that Jason Kelsey came out and said, "This guy over the past several years is the closest thing to me that we have seen," that should just ease your concerns automatically. And I know there are people that are saying that they hated the pick because another offensive line. Again, look at the Eagles' MO. Look at what their philosophy has been for years. You cannot go against it. And especially with the offensive line, I want to bring this up. The Eagles back in 2020 were absolutely decimated on the offensive line. We had a different starting five every single week, pretty much that year. So you would think that after experiencing that for a season, that fans would be perfectly fine with investing in depth, O-line depth. Not a lot of teams do that, guys. Not a lot of teams do that. You look at our offensive line and our depth, we have backups that could be starting on teams. That's insane. And I love that. Okay. I understand you get concerned about over investing, but to me, if Kelsey is saying this guy is my heir apparent and he's going to mentor this guy, that's a home run for me. That's an absolute home run. Also, you gotta factor in he's going to compete at guard. I said it right off the bat. He can play guard. He's going to compete with Isaac. Okay, so it's not like he's going to red shirt, or it's not like he's not going to contribute at all. People said the same thing about Dickerson last year. Look what happened. Look at those injuries. Dickerson got a chance. He stayed, and then he never gave up the starting spot. So you don't know. You need offensive line depth. And Jurgens is going to compete with Isaac. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins that job. I wouldn't be surprised at all. So you can't. I don't even more so than the Davis pick. I don't understand the concerns with the Jurgens pick that I've seen. Like, I can understand the concerns with Davis because people haven't seen a proven pass rusher, seen him as a proven pass rusher. Okay, I can kind of understand that, but with the Jurgens pick, like, I don't get it. You need offensive line depth because in the middle of the season, if our offensive line is banged up and decimated, the fans are going to be crying for depth and begging or wishing that the Eagles had depth. You can't have enough depth on the offensive line, especially like when it comes to protecting the quarterback. And plus, if we're going to be running the ball again, a good amount, you need that run blocking. You need the offensive line is just so important. Like, I don't understand the backlash this pick has been getting. I love the pick. Nakobe Dean. What a steal. I did not think he'd be, I don't think anyone expected him to be available in the third round. That if you were watching our show, our live show that day on the Friday night, we were on for Fan Friday. Like, people were asking me, like, do you think he falls? And I'm like, I don't know at this point, because when he was there for our second round pick, we took Jurgens. People asked if I thought he was going to fall. I had said, like, I don't know. Like, it's possible at this point. And what's crazy is that you have differing reports. Like, my best guess was that there were team doctors that were concerned about his pec injury and him not getting surgery. They were probably concerned, and that probably differed from what Dean's personal doctors had said, his personal physicians. But that's all it takes sometimes, is that difference of opinion from team doctors to personal doctors. Like, that could mean a difference. If there's disagreement there, the team could be put off. And we saw that. Plus, you got to consider Dean's undersized. He is undersized. Okay. That was like, teams are going to be a little concerned about that because he's undersized and he does get pushed around at the point of attack. He doesn't really stack and shed well. But, man, at the third round, that's phenomenal value. Plus, when you consider this guy as intangibles as a leader, I mean, I I had my guys, if you remember, I had my guys in the third round that I wanted a DB. Apparently, I was higher on them than the Eagles, so I can't really blame them that. Like I had my preferences, but again, this is where you have to kind of separate. Like I could absolutely be wrong about these DBs. Okay, I evaluate them to my preference, to my knowledge, but all of us sometimes we have these limitations. The teams have their own boards, and as long as it's not an egregious reach, you kind of have to you can't complain. Like you can't really hate the pick too much. Like I wanted a DB, I wanted who was there, Kirby Joseph, or I wanted who was left, JT Woods, stuff like that. I think those were the guys. I think there was one more guy, I forget, who was available still. I wanted one of them, but Dean was a guy, and I can't hate the pick. I really like that pick because that value was insane. That's insane value. So even though you have your preferences, you can't use your preference to complain about a good pick. You got to separate the two. So I love those. Now we got beyond them, we had the other draft picks. The other linebacker, the hybrid guy, who's probably going to be the Jannard Avery kind of replacement. I forget, it was Teron Johnson or something like that. I forget. I think that was his name. Yeah, Kieran Johnson. I didn't really study him, but I know after the fact I did some research on him, and he is like a hybrid guy. So he's going to be a good, at least worst case scenario, a good special teamer. And then Grant Calcaterra, just another pass catching tight end out of SMU. But the guy I want to get into is the running back, the undrafted free agent running back. All right. Before I get to that, though, let's catch up on some of the chat. Jesse asked, "Do you think we could package Dillard and Reagor for a name or mid-tier draft capital next year? Possibly. I mean, I don't know. There isn't Dillard's. Isn't Dillard's? When's Dillard's contract? His contract's up after this year. It was 2019, right? 19, 20, 21, 20. Yeah. His contract's up after this year. I don't know if we'd be able to trade him. He might walk next year. So I don't know. Reagor, I we'll see. I don't know with Reagor. I thought he was going to get traded, but I mean maybe there's no market for him. But he needs a fresh start somewhere else. It's not working out here. I don't think it's ever going to work out here in Philly. He needs a fresh start somewhere else. Don says taking O-line is always solid. I'm surprised people were mad at that pick. Hey, Don. Eagles fan base. NX750 Gaming says Kelsey left injured last year. Herbig played so bad at center. Kelsey went back in and played injured. Exactly. Like, oh my God. Like, you need that. It would be nice if Kelsey got hurt, if we had someone that we could rely on, like Jurgens, to come in and play in his place if needed. Devin Green says Hurts was top 10 under pressure throws due to our banged up O-line. Yeah. Jesse Davis says there's always QB injuries every year too. Maybe Minshew, Carson Strong could get shipped for draft capital or players early in the year. I would ship Minshew. I would hang on to Carson Strong, and I'll get into Carson Strong in a bit. I really like that signing as well. Don asks, so what are the Philly doctors saying about Dean right now? Philly doctors apparently are saying that he's clear. Like he's gonna be ready for the start of training camp. So I don't know. I mean, they already said they were ready to pick him in the second round. They were fine with his medicals at that point, but Jurgens was still there. So again, they're gonna prioritize the lines. So they went with Jurgens over Dean, but it worked out because Dean was still there in the third round. Jesse says, crazy Dean went in the third, considering just 3 months ago, Dean was undisputed best linebacker in the country in college, won every single award you can get. Yes, it's crazy that he was there in the third round. Yes. That's just also why some people can get a little too far, get carried away with awards sometimes. So I would just be wary of that. The awards, they're cool in college, but I've talked to a lot of scouts, and they say college awards don't mean anything when you're talking about the draft. So just be mindful of that. It adds to your resume, but when you're being evaluated by NFL scouts, it doesn't really mean anything. NX 750 game. I'm suppose you're talking about Kieran. How do you pronounce his first name? Kieran. Kieran. Yeah, good special teamer. Dominic says Dillard has a 5th-year option though, which some teams like. They do. That is a good point. We could exercise because he was that first-round pick. When is that deadline though? There's a deadline for us to exercise that. If someone can find that out for me, so I don't have to. Since I'm the only one here, I don't want to waste time researching that. But someone can research for me. Find out when the deadline is for that 5th-year option, because you can't exercise it next year, the year that you want to go into. You have to exercise the year before. So, yeah, William Middlebrook says, Chux, your TikTok dance was great. Thanks, Bill. Yeah, if those who don't know, I did a TikTok dance with my wife on her TikTok over a few days ago. For those who don't know too, I am a former, like, I used to dance. I directed my own dance team. I was in dance for about like 10 plus years. I have 10 plus years of extensive dance experience, not just like casual stuff. I took classes and everything like that. So before I started to get on with A2D, that's what I was doing before. I was a dancer. So it felt good to get back into it a little bit. But yeah, my wife's TikTok, if you want to look it up, or I'm on my Facebook, it's there. But yeah, I have a lot of different passions. For those of you who don't know, and those passions, when I get into it, I get really passionate. So like obviously football is one of my passions. Dance is my other passion. My other passion that I have also is martial arts. I've studied martial arts for a long time too. So those are pretty much my 3 passions when it comes to like hobbies. My hobbies, as you can say. Eagles that landed says Carson Strong, unbelievable arm talent. Absolutely. Don says, bro, y'all undrafted players nuts. Brooks, Strong, Josh Joby. I'm not a big fan of Josh Joby. Now, as an undrafted free agent, that's a good pickup. And I know there are some evaluators that had him at like an early day 3 guy. So cool. Like that's good. I wasn't a big fan of Josh Joby. But we'll see. I hope I'm wrong on him. I hope I'm wrong. That'd be great if he became a good, a good role player for us. Mike Danger says Dean won the Buckets Award twice, once in high school and once in college. This kid's talented for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Dominic says May 2nd for the 5th-year option. Yeah. May 2nd. So it passed. So we exercised it, I'm guessing? I'm assuming we did or didn't. I don't know. All right. So to wrap up, to get near the end of my the first half of the show, I want to talk about the 2 undrafted free agent guys. All right. First one, Carson Strong. So glad we picked him up. I really like this guy. The big question mark is his knee. But if that knee can hold up, this guy, man, he has such good arm talent. Now, the mobility is going to be a question. I think the mobility is going to determine how high his ceiling can be. But to me, if he can stay healthy, right, even if his mobility is limited, but if his knee can hold up and he can stay healthy, I think he's going to be a really good backup. And to get that as an undrafted free agent, man, to have this guy as our backup for years would be amazing. I really like this guy. And hey, I'm not gonna put it like I'm not gonna guarantee anything, but if his knee can hold up and he can show he can move a bit, QB1 talk, we'll see. We will see. The other guy, guys. That's funny. The other guy that I was extremely excited about was Kennedy Brooks, Oklahoma running back. I didn't talk too much before the draft, or leading up to it. I didn't speak a lot about him. He was a name under the radar, but man, like I think I spoke to we talked about him a little bit when we had Matt Waldman on. Matt Waldman brought him up. Kennedy Brooks is going to be better than Jordan Howard. Kennedy Brooks is an underrated running back. He's very, very solid, very, very reliable running back. I think that the chances of him landing on this roster are very high. If out of all the undrafted free agents, I think his chances are higher than any of them. All right. And I did, a few days ago, I did do a film breakdown and projection of him. If you want to check out A2D's social medias, it's on there. If you want to check out my YouTube, it's on there as well. But I'm gonna put it up here for those who want to see it real quick. This was my projection. I'll read through it. Kennedy Brooks projects as a good early down complementary running back in the committee. He has high-end vision for both gap and zone run schemes. Both his pre and post-snap diagnoses are remarkable, and he has a true feel for tempo, pacing, footwork efficiency, and angles when running behind the offensive line. His contact balance is also great, and as he is capable of setting both direct and indirect tackle attempts from all types of defenders. Although you certainly won't confuse him for an explosive runner in any way, he does have some build-up speed and an extra gear he can reach once he reaches the third level of the defense. Brooks' main limitation is his lack of versatility. He's currently a marginal pass protector, and he can't really contribute much as a receiver outside of the occasional check down near the line of scrimmage. He's agile enough to navigate to and through cutback lanes, but he isn't elusive in space, nor is he someone you'd expect to constantly win one-on-one against a defender. Overall, Brooks might not be a standout running back prospect, but he can prove to be a reliable and trustworthy addition to any team who is looking for a runner who consistently picks up positive yards and keeps the offense ahead of the chains. So, with Kennedy Brooks, what you've got to, weather expectations, okay? I'm not gonna, please don't go out and say, oh, Chux said he's going to be the new RB1. No, you temper your expectations, okay? But Kennedy Brooks, I honestly believe if he can find his way onto the roster, he'll be better than Jordan Howard. He will be better than Jordan Howard. There are things that Jordan Howard does do better than him. That's why I saw a lot of people compare Brooks to Howard. I wouldn't use that comp. I think they have different, even though they're powerful backs, or they're bigger backs that run in between the tackles, they're different. Howard he's a much better finisher. And what I mean by that is when you finish runs, what as a running back, what type of power do you have? And what I mean by power, on contact with the defender, do you drive them back? That's power. So on contact, when you lower your shoulder, you get your pads even, then you get them square. How far back can you move a defender at point of attack, point of contact? How strong are you? When I say strength, how far can you move? How far can you move a defender? How far when they are latched onto you? How far can you drag them forward? How much can you turn your legs to get extra yards? That's strength. And that all factors into when talking about finishing your runs. I think Jordan Howard is a better run finisher. I think with Brooks, he needs to get better leverage. He doesn't use his leverage well enough as a run finisher. Okay, so he has to get lower more consistently. And with Brooks, he doesn't have that type of power. Howard was bigger. He was bigger, he's more dense. He has more muscle to him. Brooks is a big back in terms of muscle mass, but not like Howard. So Howard's a better finisher. Howard also is a much better pass protector. Brooks, you see him he's got a lot to work on when it comes to pass protection. Right, he has a lot to work on, and I talk about it in my video breakdown. Again, go watch it on A2D socials or on my YouTube. I talk about Brooks' pass protection issues a lot. That needs to be worked on. However, what Brooks does better than Howard, for one, Brooks has much better vision. Brooks' vision is great. And if you go by my scale, okay, I have a scale here that I use. Let me see if I can show you really quick. If you see this, my grading scale, and a lot of scouts use this. I'll use this from the Scouting Academy. You have poor, marginal, adequate, solid, good, great, and elite. His vision is great. His vision and sense of tempo is already great. Okay, it's phenomenal. So I wouldn't say it's elite yet because I'm very hesitant to use the term elite with college prospects because like elite should be rare. So I'd say it's great, but man, like when I say great, like it's as good as anyone in this draft class. So his vision is so high end. His feel for tempo and pacing, like he's the most patient runner in this class, bar none. He's the smartest runner when it comes to pre and post-app diagnosis. So like he knows and he's aware of the run design and the defenders in the box and what the defense is calling before and after the snap, which is very, very important. So he's better than Jordan Howard in vision and all that stuff, with tempo and everything, pacing. He has better footwork. I mentioned how, with Howard, his footwork and his feet aren't horrible, but I mean they're nothing to write home about. With with Brooks, his footwork is better. Okay, again, nothing to write home about, but it's better. He can make some pretty impressive cuts behind his blockers when he's navigating from gap to gap. So his footwork is better. All right. I really do. In terms of role, I like Brooks better than I do Howard. I do. Now it's almost blasphemy to say because Howard is a proven vet. I get it. And Brooks hasn't even stepped foot on a football field yet. Okay, and I get it. And you can crucify me all you want for saying that, but like if I'm talking about projection, again, it says right at the top, projection. If I'm projecting Brooks into the NFL, I do like him better than Howard. I feel like as an early down running back, between the tackles running back, a grinder on this team, a grinding kind of runner, he's better in that role. I expect him to be better in that role than Howard was. Okay. So I really like the Brooks pick, not pick the pickup, the signing. Like him a lot. You can argue because I'm a running backs guy. You could argue that I was more excited for Brooks than any other pick. But that's just me being a running back nerd. But yeah, I like Brooks. I'm really, really hoping he finds his way and stays on this roster because I think obviously we're missing that type of runner in this running back room. We've got Miles, who's going to stay as the lead. We've got Kenneth Gainwell as a dual threat guy, and we've got Scott as like the veteran. But we don't have a grinder anymore with Jonah gone. So we'll see. Donan says Kenny Brooks is way better than Adams. Trust me. Yes, he's way better than Adams. Way better than Adams. Mr. Rudy Poo says Jordan Howard's downfall is injury. Yeah, I mean that's. I mean, he was a lot better when he was with the Bears, but as you can see, like his numbers declined. It was a steady decline for him ever since his rookie year. Since he came out, I've never been a huge Jordan Howard fan. I think he's a solid running back, but people made him out to be better than what he was. I never thought he was that good. Bill Milberg says, goes to show you how weak this class was by the UDFAs that were available after the top 25 picks. Anybody could have been drafted anywhere. It's funny because like you see that all the time, but yeah, this year I'd say was so unpredictable. Like it was a deep class, a very deep class in some positions, absolutely deep. Okay, like wide receiver was deep, running back was deep, linebacker was deep, safety was deep, but yeah, there weren't a lot of stars. There wasn't a lot of star power at the top in this class, so we will see how this goes. So that's my recap of the Eagles picks. All right, if you have any more opinions, takes, questions about them, definitely keep firing them off. I want to get into the league as a whole to finish off. So the second half of the show is brought to you by our doc Paul Vidal, a specialized physical therapy. Finding them in Burlington and Cherry Hill. Specialized physical therapy.com. All right. So most people, they give draft grades and they do they do the teams that they felt did the best, right? The best drafts. I am not going to do that because other people do that. What I'm going to do is I went through each round and I highlighted just individual picks. Okay, if you want me to say who I thought had the best drafts, I thought that there were a lot of teams that had great drafts. I will say that. All right. But the ones that stood out to me the most, obviously the Eagles. But outside of the Eagles, the three teams that stand out to me personally were the Jets, Seahawks, and Chiefs. I thought their drafts really were outstanding. And again, there were other teams that had great drafts too. Just because I don't mention them doesn't mean that they didn't. I'm just talking about me personally. Like when I see their class, their haul, their draft haul, I'm like, oh my god, I like this guy. I like this guy. So Habib says the Ravens. The Ravens always have a good draft every single year. They are just masters at drafting. So yes, the Ravens absolutely had a great draft. I don't mention them because it's like chalk at this point. It's like it's a given. The Ravens are going to have a good draft no matter what. They fall into talent. The talent falls to them. It just does. So they did have a good draft. But the ones that stand out to me the most, Jets, Seahawks, Chiefs. I want to get into the picks that stood out to me the most. There's a lot, so I'm gonna go one by one and then just do a little bit of talk a little bit about each one. The first one, obviously, I just talked about the Ravens. Kyle Hamilton falls to 14. I can't stand again the talk about safeties aren't important. Safeties are very important. Okay, just because another safety, another high-end safety, like similar to how Derwin James fell, just because Kyle Hamilton fell doesn't mean that safety isn't important. It is very important. Okay, very important. And the way the league is being played now, it's only a matter of time before safety is going to start really being taken early in the draft. I'm telling you. Okay, so the Ravens, they ended up with Kyle Hamilton, which some people have as a top 3 player in the whole draft. I don't know how they do it. So out of that was the standout pick for me in the first round. That's the only one I'm going to highlight. Obviously, Jordan Davis was the only one I'm going to highlight because like a lot of the first round was just good. Like you got, there wasn't too many surprises in terms of like, how can I say this? Like stand out, like, oh, this was phenomenal outside of Hamilton. Like a lot of really good picks at value. So first round, a lot of really good picks. A lot of teams did really well. Second round, okay. I'm going to start it off. Breece Hall to the Jets. And by the way, a lot of these selections I'm going to mention obviously are going to be running backs, but there are, a good amount of non-running backs. Breece Hall to the Jets. Phenomenal. Breece Hall to the Jets. Hey, you're talking about like a top tier running back. Okay? I had 2 guys in my top tier. I had Kenneth Walker and Breece Hall. Breece Hall, elite running back prospect, goes to a team where they use an outside zone scheme. And that is a scheme that Hall is going to eat. Like Hall can be in any scheme, but in the zone scheme, man, he's going to be really dangerous. Really, really dangerous. And I love that. A lot of people are saying like, oh, they drafted Michael Carter. Michael Carter is not the same type of running back as Hall. And I mean that from a style standpoint and a talent level standpoint. He's not the same. Absolutely not the same. Okay? They're just not. Michael Carter is a complimentary guy. All right? A lot of people overhyped him last year. He's not a lead guy. He's not a foundation runner. He's a complimentary guy. Hall is a lead back. I love this pick for the Jets. Obviously, my next one is going to be my RB1, Kenneth Walker or Ken Walker. By the way, a lot of people have it Kenneth, but in an interview, he did say he prefers to be called Ken. All right, so I'm going to address him from now on as Ken Walker. All right, so Ken Walker to the Seahawks. I was hoping he'd go to a better team, but it's a great situation in terms of usage. He is going to be at least to start off, he might split carries with Penny, but he is the future there. They're going to run the ball all the time. And that was really obvious with how their draft went. I mentioned how they were one of the teams that really drafted well. They had one of the standout drafts. Like the Seahawks drafted 2 offensive linemen early. Okay. They are going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball. Ken Walker is going to eat. So I'm telling you, in your fantasy drafts, if you have a dynasty league and you have your rookie draft, it should go Walker or Hall as the top two. You can switch them off if you want, but those should be 1 and 2. Okay. Next one I'm going to say, obviously Cam Jurgens. I love that pick. George Pickens to the Steelers. I mean, we talked about it enough. Like George Pickens has all the talent in the world. He just has some issues. Some not issues. I don't want to say issues. Concerns with character. All right. But if the Steelers are picking him, any wide receiver that the Steelers pick, I'm going to have faith in because the Steelers draft wide receivers better than almost anyone. So they're taking him. Pickens going to be a star. Loved it. Sky Moore to the Chiefs. I'm not going to come out and say that Sky Moore is going to be the next Tyreek Hill, but they found a wide receiver that they can use in similar ways that they did Tyreek Hill. So that's why I like this pick. Sky Moore is an electric playmaker. I like them. The next one might surprise some of you, but it really shouldn't. James Cook to the Bills was a phenomenal pick. And I know I had said leading up to the draft that James Cook was being overhyped. I still stick by that. But you had to have him go to the right situation to a team that's going to use him right. And the Bills are going to use him right. I honestly believe that. He is your poor man's Alvin Kamara. Okay, he's not going to – you can't give him the ball. You can't have him run the ball 10 to 15 times a game and give him, 5 to 10 receptions. That's not him. He's going to get between 10 to 15 total touches a game. All right? But in that passing attack, makes perfect sense. He's going to be another really great weapon for Josh Allen. I love that pick for them. Third round, Greg Dulcich to the Broncos. Greg Dulcich is the best pass-catching tight end in this draft. And the Broncos got him. They traded away Noah Fant and part of the Russell Wilson trade, but they replaced Dulcich. Now, Alec O is still the starter there, but I believe if not this year, eventually down the line, Dulcich is going to take over as tight end one in that on that team. Obviously, Nakobe Dean to the Eagles, great pick. Marcus Jones in the third round to the Patriots. Now, the Patriots had one of the worst picks by taking Cole Strange in the first round, but if there's anything I have faith in with the Patriots, it's them with DBs. Bill Belichick makes DB, like that's DBU in the NFL. Okay, that's DB factory. A lot of their defensive backs, they become stars in New England. Marcus Jones, you might see him only as a slot receiver, but in New England, that's going to use him right. Man, like he's going to eat. Like don't be surprised if he's like a poor man's like honey badger. Like he can be used in different ways. He was used as safety. He was used to play on the outside in college as well as in the slot. Obviously, he's not going to be playing on the outside at the pro level, but he can play slot corner. He can play safety. So he can do a number of things for you. He's tenacious. He's aggressive. He's fearless. Marcus Jones of the Patriots was a great pick. Malik Willis, who a lot of people has QB1, going to the third round to the Titans, where they're not in any rush to have him start because they have Tannehill. Phenomenal value. Like, the whole thing with Willis was you knew he was going to need time to develop, okay? He's very raw in terms of passing. But in the third round, that's phenomenal value. For a quarterback of his potential and upside, that's phenomenal value. I love that pick for the Titans. You've got Rachaad White to the Bucs. The Bucs have needed an electric receiving back, and they got one in Rachaad White. Right off the bat, he's going to be their scat back. Right off the bat. And he can eventually turn into and develop into a 3-down guy. So I love that pick for the Bucs. Isaiah Spiller, my third ranked running back. He went in the fourth round to the Chargers. That is a phenomenal situation for him because he's going to be the perfect complement to Austin Eckler. Eckler now can can be that complementary piece in terms of he can do a lot of receiving out of the backfield. He doesn't have to worry about carrying the rock a ton. They were missing that a lot in LA. They have a lot of running backs that try to get to be those ball early down guys, compliments to Austin Eckler, but they haven't found one. But I believe now they found one. Isaiah Spiller, great situation. Hassan Haskins to the Titans, perfect scheme fit. He's going to be the backup to Derrick Henry. If Derrick Henry gets hurt or anything, Haskins is going to be in there. He's going to fill in very well because he's a gap scheme runner. That's what he is. What do you got? Sam Howell, 5th round. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen to Carson Wentz again. He's going to get replaced. Sam Howell, I'm not going to say that Sam Howell is going to be a star, but I think his 2021 tape was misleading. The lack of talent at North Carolina made him play really poorly and make bad decisions. But I think Sam Howell has more talent than what that 2021 film showed. Okay, so I think Sam Howell has potential to be a good starter in the NFL. We'll see if he actually reaches that. Tariq Woolen, one of my guys at corner to the Seahawks, absolute Seahawks pick. A cornerback with traits, okay, with size and outstanding physical traits. Of course he goes to the Seahawks. Keontae Ingram in the 6th round to the Cardinals. Again, one of my running back sleepers who wasn't getting any talk, and for the life of me, I don't know why. Keontae Ingram is such a good running back. He made my tier 2 you made it to tier 2 on my running back rankings. Same tier as Isaiah Spiller and Brian Robinson. I do not know why Keontae Ingram wasn't getting more buzz. I think that he can win that job in Arizona. He absolutely can. My last 2 are my Rutgers guys, both 7th round picks. 7th round to the Seahawks went Bo Melton, electric wide receiver. I just grabbed him in my Dynasty League rookie draft. I'm very happy. And then the last guy I'm going to highlight is Isaiah Pacheco. We talked about him already. A running back similar mode of Cam Akers and the guy that went to the Packers. I forget his name. But played with a horrible offensive line, but has so much talent. Electric, versatile. I think he can carve out a role in Kansas City where Andy Reid values that type of electric, versatile running backs. So I really like those. The picks that I hated the most, Chris Olave, the Saints. The Saints traded all those picks to move up and get Chris Olave. God, like what? I mean, I'm not going to complain. You guys know I hate the Saints. So I'm not going to complain. That's just highly questionable. I already talked about Cole Strange and the Patriots. Obviously, that's a big one. Wan'Dale Robinson to the Giants. Like, I'm not trying to hate on the Giants, but if you wanted that type of wide receiver, there were plenty of other choices you could have gone that would have been better than Wan'Dale Robinson. But I digress. Falcons, 3rd round, Desmond Ridder. I don't think Desmond Ridder is anything more than a great backup in this league. And the fact that they drafted him 3rd round, maybe that's what they see. Maybe they don't expect him to be a starter, a franchise guy. But man, if you're going to go quarterback, should have just done it last year with Justin Fields. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. 3rd round, running back, Tyrion Davis-Price to the 49ers. The Niners did this last year. They got Trey Sermon. Didn't work out. They drafted Tyrion Davis-Price here. I know that Kyle Shanahan wants like his running back room to be really, really good. He wants talented running backs. So obviously he's always going to be in the market for a running back because if guys are hurt, he doesn't want to have his offense miss a beat. So I get it. But it's frustrating considering you traded up last year for Trey Sermon and barely used them. And now you draft another one. You draft another running back in the 3rd round. I don't like I don't know. Like Tyrion Davis Price, I like a good amount. I like Tyrion Davis. He was tier 4, and he was in that tier where they can be a high-end role player. So I like Tyrion Davis Price a good amount. I just Niners, like I don't get it. You have Kyle Shanahan can draft a running back in the 6th, 7th round and make them in the stars. And it's not that I'm against drafting running backs on day 2. You guys know that's further from the truth. Like, look at my shirt. Running backs matter. Okay? I believe in drafting running backs on day 2. But for the Niners who did it last year with Trey Sermon, that's my point. You did it last year with Trey Sermon. And you're already giving up on him? Like, trade him already. Trade Trey Sermon because you're not going to use him. I know you're not going to use him. So that's why I highly question that pick. And the last one, Brian Robinson, the Commanders. I know that Antonio Gibson has had some fumbling issues last year, so I get it. But they still don't use Gibson as much as they should. And now they're adding Robinson. I don't know. Highly questionable for me. Questionable fit. But that's my favorite and least favorite picks of the draft. Let's go to the chat. I've ignored you guys a good amount. Wick says A+ draft, my dude. Could have gotten Hamilton though. Yeah, we could have. We could have. He also says, I hope we give an undrafted guy a chance. I hope Kennedy Brooks gets given a chance. Wick, Kyle Hamilton, the next Ed Reed. Joking. Man, like his playstyle isn't Ed Reed, but like he can do everything, man. I love him. Don Dunn says, I hope the Lions get CJ Stroud or Bryce Young next year. Whichever one you get, I hope the other one goes to the Eagles. Sorry, did I say that? Sorry, I'm not trying to give up on Jalen Hurts. Please don't kill me. Habib says, if Hamilton turns out to be a Pro Bowler and JD is a bust, I'm going to be so pissed. I mean, all of us will be. But what happens if it's vice versa? What happens if Hamilton turns out to be a bust and JD is an All-Pro, a Hall of Famer? You going to apologize? I'm just asking. Don says, Drew Lock can have the same amount of pass thrown as Mac Jones versus the Bills. That's exactly right. The Seahawks are going to run. Oh, man. Telling you, get Ken Walker. Cameron Holmes says, can't wait to see what this Mario Goodrich dude about. I didn't really study him too much, so we'll see. I'm excited. I mean, it's a Hail Mary with these undrafted free agents, obviously, with the secondary, but you're hoping one of them can come on and be at least like some type of contributor, Habib says AJ Brown is going to have 1,200 yards and 11 touchdowns. We'll see. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Mr. Wing asks, how do you feel about the Eagles running back from Bama? He looks slow, no explosion. Running back from Bama. Eagles running from Bama, Oklahoma? Kenny Brooks, what I talking about? Yeah, from Bama. Mr. Wing clarified that. Do you mean Oklahoma? If so, if you're talking about Brooks, I discussed them earlier. I think about like 40 minutes into the show, roughly. All right. Don says, I love Josh Pascal and Kirby Joseph. Solid guy. Bro, I'm telling you, like, I know we both wanted Lewis Seen. Kirby Joseph is no slouch. Kirby Joseph was one of my guys, too. Kirby Joseph is a freaking ball hawk. You're going to love Kirby Joseph. He says, I'm surprised you didn't say Pierre Strong to the Patriots. In terms of what? The thing is, the one team I hate the most when it comes to running backs and their landing spots is the Patriots. The Patriots are the worst team to go to for a running back because Bill Belichick is on record saying, I don't care about having the most talented running back. I care about having the healthiest. So he doesn't care. He doesn't care. I hated the fact that Ramondre went to the Patriots. Don says as a negative. Yeah, I was thinking about it. The only reason why I wouldn't say it why I didn't include it is because Pierre does give them an element that the other running backs don't. Like, obviously you have Ramondre and you have Harris, right? They're your, between the tackles pounders, the power runners. Pierre Strong is a finesse guy, dual threat guy kind of guy. So he offers that explosive weapon at running back. I mean, like James White, I wouldn't be surprised if he's on his way out because he's older now. JJ Taylor, he's smaller back, but I don't think he's anything that special. I think Pierre Strong is better than JJ Taylor. So that's why I can't say I fully hated it because he does add a dimension. I feel like he is going to have a role in that offense. So I couldn't hate it, but just from a running back guy, like I feel like Pierre Strong would have been better off going to a different team. That's why I didn't like it. And then drafted Kevin Harris. Kevin Harris, like I wouldn't be surprised if Kevin Harris didn't make the team. He's a in between the tackles kind of, power runner. That's what he is. They drafted the 2 running back on day 3 this year. Again, that's Bill Belichick. He wants the healthiest running back. He doesn't want the best one. I don't know. That's why I didn't like it. But that's my thoughts on the draft. Don. Oh, by the way, I still gotta see the Northman. I want to see that too. I highly doubt I'm gonna be able to see it in the theaters, so I can't wait for it to come out. Come out on streaming. That would be great. I definitely want to see that. Yeah, that's my thoughts on the NFL draft, guys. So I appreciate you sticking with me. We went just about. Let's say my counter is at 1 hour 11 minutes, a little bit over an hour. I appreciate you sticking with me, talking with me, keeping me company here while I'm all alone. I hope I didn't bore you. I hope my son in the background helped provide a little bit of entertainment with his jibber jabber. But I am going to go enjoy the rest of my night. We started watching Moon Knight last night, so we're gonna continue binging some of that. I like it so far. I just wish it was more violent. So, Don. Yeah, now we got some good conversation. You got it. All right, Don. Appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. And everyone else who tuned in, I appreciate you. Again, thank you for listening to me rant for an hour and 15 minutes. I love you guys. It was a great draft. Now we enter the part of the NFL season where there's really nothing to talk about. But over here at Birds of a Feather, we're going to do our best. We're going to try to come up with some fun stuff. This summer to talk about, get some conversations going. Annually, that we do our positional rankings. So that'll start next month. That's going to be a thing. And I got a few ideas in terms of fun, creative shows that we can do. So definitely stick with us. We're going to have some fun stuff this summer as much as we can. And keep looking out for my content. I'll have some more stuff either in June or July in terms of content. I need to take a break. Obviously, like putting out so much like draft stuff, it's very time consuming. You can ask my wife. I take so much time out of my day to get content out. Yep. And I need a break. So either June or July, I'll be doing my summer series where I scout different NFL players and I do film breakdowns on them. So keep on the lookout for those. But other than that, again, appreciate the support all the time, guys. All the time. I seriously love you guys. For all of our sponsors here, Manscaped, everywhere else, thank you for having our backs and being there for us. For all the other shows, please check out all the other shows that are coming up. Again, if you're not checking us out every day, you're missing out. You got a show for every single one of you guys, every single day. Great stuff to provide. And for myself, the rest of us at ATD Radio, hosts Albertus and Feather, Pete and Chrome, for the big guy Tom, for the rest of us, we thank you. We love you. Have a good night. Stay safe. God bless. And I will see you. Pete will see you next week. Peace out.